Hi, Melusine.
Hi, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Early here in France, but it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, 9 a.m. in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It's a bit tricky in the morning. And as I was telling you earlier, I see your big jumper, and I feel the cold for you. Like I feel for you. I have shivers just thinking of the winter time in Paris. And I'm very happy to be in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, I wish I would be there.
So it's really great to connect with you again. Thanks for your time and congratulations on your book as well. So I know it was published at the end of September.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it a bit later. I'm particularly excited about this interview because, first of all, I really admire the way you've been traveling. So you've been traveling over the world for the last 10 years. And I really admire the way you travel and how you see motorcycling as not only a vehicle to express freedom, but also to connect with people. And as I told you as well earlier, that's really something that I'd like to share with other women through our trips and also through these interviews at the moment. And I also think that as French people, I don't know if it's a French thing, but I still believe that it's quite specific to us that we have this value of freedom ingrained in our culture, right? It's in our motto, which is freedom, equality, brotherhood. So that's actually my first questions for you. I'd like to ask you, what does freedom means to you, and how does it translate into motorcycling more particularly?
Yeah, it's true that freedom is very important in France because we learn it. It's written on city hall. It's written on school. So it's a word we live with this word. But in fact, it's something that I learned what is freedom through my travel, through the motorcycle. And now, after asking this same question to a lot of people, I would say freedom is something about choice and responsibility. It's more the choice you have, and the more you learn would what would be impact with this choice, that the more freedom you have. But it's also, I would add, it's the ability of failing and learn to change and share and oh, it's hot now, and found a new way because it's not only one path. It's when you learn how to change your path. So to learn how to change the path, it's of course learn to just fall down. It's the same as when you learn how to ride a motorcycle. You can't just go on a motorcycle and just go. No, it's not easy. Of course you will fail. Of course you will fear, and it will be hard. But after learning and fail and go again on the motorcycle, you will learn how to do and how to practice, and you feel proud and you can go on it. So freedom, and I would say life, is a bit like this. And I would say also that it's very the opposite of selfishness. It's not only doing what you want for yourself and just, oh, I want to do that and that and that. It's also something in the middle of a society, middle of people, middle of nature, of earth. So it's a mix of everything, because you can't be totally free in a way. You can't do whatever you want. You can't kill somebody because you don't like it. No, it's do something right, and but with the feeling of I would say you know that is your own decision. It's not somebody else who told you how to do this. Now, for example, I choose this tea and it's my choice. And when you feel that is this your choice, it's when you're free, I would say. Something like this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's because it's a very broad concept sometimes, but you're right. Sometimes the freedom of mind, the freedom of making your own choices, and accepting responsibility is also freedom. Sometimes people say, I don't have choice, but in fact, we always have a choice, right? We have the choice to accept the consequences. There might be uneasy consequences, but ultimately it remains our choice. So, and this freedom is really starts in the mind, you know, and not only or not always physical, as you said. You might not be free to kill everyone you want, for example, but you know, you're free in your mind. That's where it starts. And I like your parallel with motorcycling, because it's true. It's like you try and you fail and you have the freedom to fail and start again, you know. So it really makes sense.
But that's true that most of the people the boundaries ourselves. It's most of the time it's ourselves who say no, I can't, but it's not so true. Most of the time you can, but it's yourself who said no, I can't, because my mom would say no, or my father, or the society, or something, and it's first in your mind, and you have to break it, and it's hard.
Yeah, of course. Like learning how to ride, you know, it's the same. I was talking with a Malaysian friend previously, and we were talking about the fact that motorcycling puts you in a difficult physical situation, and that sometimes physical challenges build your emotional and your mind strength in a way.
And you have to give yourself the right to do it.
Yeah.
And especially for women, lots of men would say to them, no, you're not able, you can't, but it's not true. And you have to fight this, because you learn all your life, no, I can't because I'm a woman, or I can't because, and I would say that that's the thing I love with the motorcycle, because when you take your motorcycle, it's not only just an object, and yes, you can, and that's the feeling of, you think that you can go where you want, whatever you want, you can. It's only you have the key, but you can choose only to go 500 meters, but you can go only 5,000 kilometers if you want. And that's the power of the motorcycle.
Yeah, it's true. And so speaking of differences as well, you've been traveling to a lot of different countries, obviously, because you've been traveling for 10 years and documenting as well your travels. So you know my little bias towards Asia. So in Asia in particular, so you've been to Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and China.
No, and China.
Not China, okay, so up to Pakistan.
Sorry. Yeah.
And you experience firsthand the life of people there in countries, in particular countries that are often misjudged or benefit from a kind of negative perception sometimes, especially for travelers, motorcycle travelers, and even worse, women motorcycle travelers. So I was curious to ask you, which country, if you can find one or select one, has surprised you most, in the sense that where you felt there was the biggest gap between the society media perception and your own experience?
I would say Iran is one of the country it was really a shock, because in France, and I don't know for Malaysia, but for France, Iran is Muslim and far away and very rigorous, and it looks like there's no freedom for women. And every people I talked to before I went to this country, say it's dangerous, especially for a woman alone, to go there, and you will be raped, you will be attacked, you will be robbed, everything. And when I just arrived, and it was the opposite shock, because the people were very, very welcoming, invite me in their home, invite me for tea. Even when I was riding, they stopped me to give me some fruit. It was really amazing. It was the most amazing country I traveled to. And especially with just like, now at the beginning, I was just wondering if it was like politics propaganda for tourists. Because it was so weird. But in fact,
It
the
was
Iranian
too
people
good to be true. Too
yeah.
good to be true.
And after that, there's so many countries the same. When you take a bit of time, when you talk to people, it's mostly, it's really rare. I've found some people who are a bit hostile or shy or cold. Most of the people, when you take the time and you just arrive without wanting to change them, they are very welcoming.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Not willing to change them, right? Like respecting and really like integrating in the culture and going with an open mind. That makes a huge difference in the way you interact with people, right? And I'm very happy about what you're saying about Iran, because I have this little story of recently I was talking to my parents and I was telling them how excited I was, because I have this friend Masa. You probably know her. She's a multi-years globetrotter as well from Iran, and she lives in Spain. But we're collaborating now to organize a woman tour in Iran, and obviously the idea is to find some local women guides to come with us and to experience the life of women there firsthand. So anyway, I was saying that to my parents, and my father got completely mad at me. He was like, "Are you crazy? Why are you doing such things? You're going to be in danger." And then I had an email from my grandmother saying, and so I'm really happy that you're saying that, because you're right. Like I experienced it firsthand. I asked my dad, "Have you ever been there?" "No, but what we see on TV, you're going to be." Yeah, so it's true. It's true that. So I'm very happy to hear that from another person. And now I can tell my parents, "Oh, you can call the Melusine and ask her. You will see it's okay to go there."
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I've been there 3 times, and every time it's superb. I really love these people.
Yeah, and especially, and also without mentioning the landscapes as well. I've heard in terms of landscape, it's pretty amazing. And yeah, I've heard as well about the welcoming nature of the people. There are quite a big community as well here in Malaysia, and I can feel it as well. So speaking of women, in your documentary, The Path to Freedom, you made a mention that kind of really impacted me, the way you put it. You say the kingdom of women is an interior one, a kingdom or queendom, I shall say, that is hidden from men's gaze, and that is a privilege to be invited in it. Can you share a particular experience from this womanhood kingdom that impacted you during your travel, and where was it?
Difficult to choose, but it's true that in many countries there's a big separation, like an apartheid between men and women. So as a woman alone, it's really a privilege, and I would say an opportunity to be a woman alone traveling and to be invited in this queendom. One I really remember was when I was in Kyrgyzstan, and it was crazy because there lots of people there. It's not so separate, but the fact is all the men were out for working in Russia because there's no work. So the woman was just alone in this valley, and I was just this time I was just eating something near the road. And there was just this young lady, 11 years old, but so mature, come to me directly and say, "Come to my home." And I said, "Okay, why not? I have nothing else to do." And I follow her, and I arrive in this valley, and there was just only women with small yurt. It's in the mountain. It's very green. You have cattle, and it's really beautiful. And it was like I was... it's something amazing in so many countries, and like this, and this one, it was the same. It was like they were expecting me. You're invited at home and sharing a meal like you were expected. And after there were a big debate between where I will stay because I wanted to put my tent, and they were looking at my tent like it's horrible. You can't stay there. It's not comfortable and it's dangerous. And I would say, yeah, there's many youth around. Where is the danger? You don't know man or wolf or anything. No, you have to sleep with me. So I sleep in a yurt with 2 women and my motorbike, just to be sure.
The motorbike in the yurt as well?
In the yurt as well, just to make sure everything's fine, because they have the responsibility. When somebody takes you in their home, they are responsible of you. So they want to be sure everything would be fine. So they invite me in their home and I sleep with them, and I stay like 2 days. And they were so nice, and they learned me how to, comment dire, traire les vaches.
Oh, yeah. To milk the cows.
Milk the cow, make the butter, make the cream, make everything. And no, it was really like, yeah, I was part of the family, and it was amazing, and it was very hard to leave.
Yeah, I'm sure. And how was the communication?
There it was a mix between Russian and word and drawing and.
Oh, can you speak Russian?
Really a little, like baby. I speak like a baby, and so it's a bit of everything. At this time it was 2011, so they wouldn't have Google Translate. Now it's a bit easier, but at this time it was. We have to be creative, but sometimes you face somebody who don't speak a word of your language, but how they express, how they show things, you understand. So no, it was very cool.
Yeah, I feel sometimes that's also something in the woman queendom in a way. Like we understand each other. Like I remember in Nepal, in many places where I would stop with my group, like I would see the women like preparing the meals and so on, and they couldn't speak English. And it was a bit difficult to communicate with them because my two, they were only guys. So even if I knew they would not, tell everything. But yeah, I would just sit with them and ask them if I could cook or do things with them because I really wanted to learn from their skills and so on. And we didn't have a lot to talk about. Like we just understood each other. There was just a good vibe. There was just something different. We just understand each other. I don't know, just by the gaze. It's difficult to explain when you don't experience it, right? But yeah, I see what you mean. That's an amazing experience. Yeah.
Cooking is universal. Yeah. It's something that we share. How to cook, but how to eat also. And also love can be universal. Yeah. You can make love of something very stupid and it will work everywhere. So like motorcycle, it's the same as well. You have a motorcycle and it's something that you can go with. So you can find things or children to make a links between the people and without any words. And it's just the vibe, as you say. You don't have to ask more.
Yeah.
But just
the experience.
Yeah.
Experiencing things together makes the connection so much stronger, right? And sometimes without even communicating. It's true. And so again, speaking of connections, you've been connecting with a lot of people around your travels, but over the past 10 years, you also traveled mostly alone. And this can be daunting for anyone, right? So I was wondering, were there any specific challenges that you face over the last 10 years and as a woman traveling alone, and how did you overcome them?
There's different challenge as a woman alone. But first I would say how to be alone. You have to learn how to be with yourself. And for some people it's not so easy, and it depends also of the time of your life. There's sometimes in your life you need to be alone and sometimes you can't. be alone. So first, it's learn how to be alone, and learn how to be not scared of the other, because otherwise you will be really alone. And and after, yeah, lot of people would say, yeah, you're alone, so you will have problem with guys. And of course, it's something that you have to keep in mind, because it's true. It's not something, it's not a myth, but it's not so the whole reality. So you have to learn how to désamorcer, to not be in the situation you don't want to be, like to be alone with a man who wants to rape you. I make it short. But so it's about be sure about where you sleep, where you, to be very let's say smell, yeah, to when you meet somebody, you will
you learn to sense
yes,
the danger, your environment, or
yeah, you learn how to be to trust your instinct, and your instinct will be like 300% working at a lot, and you have to really learn it and to trust it. So it's a good lot of the job is to interact with the people and just look how will look at me, what will be the next situation, how I can escape of this situation. Like when I put my tent on my motorbike, always in a way I can go easily, not not to be in an ambush or something like this. So it's a lot of work, but you learn how to do it naturally. And but I would say after many years traveling, I didn't really have problem. But you have to learn how to say to a man, yeah, even if you have to say crap, like you're married, you have 3 children, your husband is in the next city or in the city before, you have to invent something that make it to just break his imagination. Like I'm coming from France, so France is Moulin Rouge, Paris, freedom, sexually freedom. You're an adventurer, and you have to say no. No, I'm married, I have children. I wanted to have somebody I can trust. Are you the one I can trust? Can I? And are you an honorable man? And with honor? Or not? Yeah, of course I'm a man with honor and I will protect you. And you have to work on it. So that's one of the problems you can have with a man. After that, the thing that was hard for me, because I was asking this question of freedom or meeting a lot of people, would be more about learning how to, you can't save the world. It's not possible. But you can meet, you can share, you can give hope, you can connect, and you can't, not alone. It's something collective, and you can only do what you can. So that's something also I need to learn through, because sometimes you face some situation, it's just so unfair, and you're helpless. And I think that was the things that was the most hard for me, to be helpless. So you have to learn to say, no, I can do some things, but not all. You can't save everybody you meet. It's not possible. So you have to do what you can, and what you can, you do it right and well.
Yeah, I feel you. I think that's that's very challenging. It's true, because you meet people, and as you rightly said, you create those connections and those experience. And even if you don't speak, you sometimes you create connections that are much deeper. And and you want to be able to help, you want to be able to stay, and yeah, I totally understand that. But I like your tip about the guys. Huh? It's an interesting tip. Actually, in a way, I'm realizing that I'm actually using it as well, even in dangerous environment just when I'm in a taxi in Kuala Lumpur and I don't want to be hassled of questions of how old I am, how much I earn, how many kids I have, if I'm married, and so on. So yeah, I also use this tip sometimes to say, yeah, I'm married, I have 3 kids, and they look at me. Really. So yeah, even in non-dangerous, non-particularly dangerous situations, but it's interesting, yeah, the way you kind of give them responsibility and kind of engage them in a way in protecting you and respecting you, and so very, very insightful. And we often say is like, I'm not convinced now, but sometimes we say that freedom can come at a cost. Did you have any cost to bear of this freedom? Because in a way, like you really, choose freedom to an extreme, I would say, in a way of a lifestyle. Huh? Did it come at any cost?
Yeah, of course. There is a cost. There is a cost for every choice. Every choice you make, there is a cost. There is, but it's what you. It's always what you want the most. It's a balance of what is the most important for you and what you can accept, the inconvenience of the choice, and it's a balance with it. And everything have a cost. Like you want, for example, you want some children, and it's wonderful. But at the beginning, perhaps you will not sleep. Or you have to find some money, or it will cost some money or something. But it's a cost you're able to take because you want it. If you want to travel, you will not see your family. You will not see your friend for these times. You will be alone. Maybe you have fear. Maybe you will be cold. Maybe it will be too hot. But you like it, and it's yourself. So it's and this cost is not a cost, but it's a small sacrifice. Of course, there will be something that's not good, and but it's a balance of what you want the most and what you're able to cope with. But there's always a small sacrifice, but it's but everything. Even the choice you don't make would be worst.
Yeah, in a way there is a cost, but it's a cost that you choose. So it's still better than, it's still freedom, and it's still better than having it imposed on you in a way.
This one of the answers of freedom I said sometimes is the freedom is when you're able to make your own boundary. Because there's always boundary. But when you choose them, it's when you have the power of them and when you're free. So there's always boundary, but you have to choose them.
Yeah.
And when you can choose them, you're free. And I think there's no cost to be yourself and without fear, and just be yourself. So I would not change my life, even with the cost.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. And so you said, because again, I in the intro I explained a little bit about you, and but just to reiterate here, in your documentaries and all the explorations you've been doing, as you said, this idea of freedom has always been really strong. So you have asked people and women and about what freedom means to them. So what are there any things that came regularly that you saw like as a pattern, as a way how they express their freedom? So you express your way of seeing freedom, and I think we are very lucky in a way from where we come that it's so basic, right? And still sometimes we might have freedom of speech or freedom of wearing what we can or freedom of, but sometimes we are not that free in our mind. We have our own self-limiting beliefs, right? But there are in other countries in the world, and many countries in the world, where people, and women in particular, for them, freedom would just mean being able to choose what they want to wear, what they want to eat, something as basic, you know? So I'm wondering, amongst all, because you've traveled in so many different countries as well, like here I'm taking two extremes in a way, but from all your travels, are there like any pattern when you've been speaking to women, what freedom meant to them? Like, were there any common points?
The common points is not hurting people, not doing bad, and doing what you want to do, but mostly don't doing bad. I would say education is one pillar for freedom, especially for women. And it's true that when you analyze a country, and when you look as what is if the women are free, it gives you an idea of what is the freedom of the country, the level of freedom of the country. So less the country is free, and less the women are free in this country. But there's also a difference between freedom and happiness. So in some country, the women will not be free, and they knew it in a way, but they didn't think about it that way. They create their own boundary. My boundary is my own children, make sure my children is fine, we go to school, not do the same as me. And for most of the women is working hard, and they work so hard in so many countries to make sure their own children have the choice. The choice of the husband, the choice of the work, choice. And that's mostly the answer of these people. And so, and education is one of the key of it. Yeah, it's challenging.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, in a way, I'm not really surprised, because you're right. I think women in general, we have this kind of intrinsic empathy, you know, that, you know, you ask them what it means to be free, and they already think about the others. You know, that's very specific as well of the community culture, and something that we don't have so much in the West, and that we see freedom as individual freedom, right? But sometimes, yeah, making the choice that you want to put the community first, or your family first, is also freedom in a way. It's freedom of choice.
Well, that is freedom.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, we could think and talk about those topics endlessly, obviously. Last time we had the talk as well, so talking about, you know, community and and like the individualistic approach versus the collectivist approach. You told me the other day that there are different moments in life where you want to do different things. So you've been solo traveling a lot, and now you're in a time where you're thinking about different things, that maybe you come to a part in your life when you want to do something different. What is it?
Yeah, now it's time for me to, I would say, come back home and be with my family and friends. But
it's a good timing, huh?
Yeah, we are full in confinement. It's the best time for it.
You stay inside with wine, cheese, baguette near the fire with family, and making very long meals and dinners and lunch. That's a pretty good timing.
And I think after 2 months, I will be very ready to go again on my motorbike, very far away. But yeah, I wanted to spend more time with my family and friends, and come back a bit more in France, and discover my own country, because after traveling a lot, so many different countries, amazing country, and at the end I don't know so much French. So that's at this time I want to travel more in France. So, but maybe and probably in 2 years I will change my mind and go in Pakistan or China or something. But for the moment, I wanted to come back here and visit my own land.
And how about traveling with others, taking people on to experience that journey with you in a way?
I'm not against. I would be very happy to share, and but not a year, not not 6 months, but in time to times, yeah, I would like to share. And now I have a lot of experiences by traveling alone, so it's also, I would say, something, a circle normal. You
Yeah.
go, you learn, you learn, and then you come back and you teach, like what you do a bit. It's something circle and natural. So at this point, yeah, it would be nice to share what I learned. And I have some women who ask me how to do, and so it's probably something I would have to think about it.
Well, I think in a way, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're not sharing, because again, like you are making those reports and those exploration videos, and you wrote a book. So in a way, that's sharing in a way, right?
Yeah.
But it's just sometimes I'm thinking, like, I realize myself, for example, I've been traveling solo in some countries, but the ones that I preferred were when I could share those experiences, because when you report them, you know, we were talking about Nepal or you in Iran, and yeah, you can share your teas, but it's not the same as experiencing, right? And I don't know, for me, I just, of course, not with any group. I don't like group tours or whatever, but when you travel with people who share similar values, who have the same way of traveling, and when you can, especially in your case with so much experience, where you can actually take them to those places that really made an impact on your life, where you made an impact on people's life too. Because, you know, after your interview, as I told you earlier, I've been in touch with Israt in Bangladesh, a woman that you experienced something with, and so she'll tell us as well how your travel has impacted her and the woman there in Bangladesh, you know. And so yeah, that's why I'm wondering, that's why I'm asking you this question, because I think it's just a different approach of traveling when you also take people with you.
It's a global impact,
Yeah.
because you impact the people you meet, and the people who travel are impacted by the people they met, and that will be very wonderful, and make the first step for this woman, because lots of people, I would say people, because it's not only women, are just have this little fear to do the first step. And when you just push them, and it will be just 1 week or 2 weeks somewhere, and they will realize that they can do it and they're ready. Or you make things that they feel, okay, I changed a bit my mind, it's possible to make things possible. I think that will be a good experience, like to take the fear and make them, yeah, I can do myself. So that would be wonderful.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of, I mean, as I said, in my case, it's not that I don't feel capable. I just prefer to share with others. But I also know some women who would love to do a solo trip or would love to have those experiences, but either they have fear or they don't know where to start, or they might sometimes not even have time to research because it's very time consuming, you know. Like I remember when I went to Nepal, this was with a group, and I just loved being taken in charge, just having to experience. And I knew those people would take me, you know, I had traveled with them before, so I knew they would take me to off the beaten path places, and I didn't have to think about anything. I just had to wake up in the morning, put the gear on and ride and just enjoy every single moment. And that's also very, when I think about traveling on my own and having to look for places to stay and because I've done it as well. And then it kind of, I wouldn't say takes away, but sometimes it can take away a little bit the experience as well, because that's what you said. You need to think about so many things, and you want to sit down and enjoy the experience, but you also need to think where you're going to spend the night and, where you're going to park the bike and, so yeah, in a way, I'm thinking, like I'd love to travel with you, like, because I would be like, oh, okay, she knows, I just have to follow and she has the experience and, I can just, enjoy the moment. So I'm saying, you're sure you don't want to take people and organize some trips, I have a few destinations in mind.
Yeah, it would be nice. Sometimes, not all the time, but I would be happy to make with the group, because you're powerful also as a group, and it's nice to share, because it's also I'm very lucky because I make the documentary, so in a way my story or my travel continue, and I can share with people who look at it.
Yeah.
And but when you're alone, it's what you miss. It's when you have somebody who would say at one point, oh, you remember we were there and we did that and we thought that and we eat these strange things, horrible. And that's something really amazing when you're with somebody and when you can share this experience. So that's true. So it's a mix of both of them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, anyway, I hope you're not going to stay too long in France and you're going to visit again in Asia for sure. As I said, so like you have people who await you as well in Bangladesh and probably in other countries. Would love to see you again. Yeah, thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience of freedom. Yeah, don't forget to send me the link. Is your book only in French or is it in English as well?
For the moment, only in French.
In French, okay. So lucky me, I can read it. So don't forget to send me the link. I'd love to read it. And the documentaries as well. Are there some in English or are they mostly in French?
They are in English, subtitled in English.
Subtitled in English, yeah, right. Okay, yeah, the one that I saw actually was subtitled in English. Okay, so feel free to share because I think they're really inspiring. Yeah, and thanks again for your time. Enjoy France for me. I must say it's probably the first time in my life that I do really miss the country. I don't know if it's psychological or what, but yeah, I mean, the fact that I cannot go right now is really making me miss France badly. So yeah, enjoy the country for me and hope to welcome you again soon in Asia.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Have a nice day. Take care.
Bye.